Now Adele doesn't use MVX or mbird. I believe she uses the Brother design, Brother software PE design, which means she sends in a stitch format for me. And she sent in a pairs, and when I opened it, I'd got big bands of red wherever there was green. So I had to open it in another program and save it as a GIF, and then open it here. Adele was online and she did send an email, and she saw this photograph and she thought that would be great for the challenge. So she contacted the owner of the photograph, and the owner said to her, yes, you can use it. And looking at the photograph, I can see why Adele chose it. In the background, at the top of the picture, you've got wooded landscape. Then just below that, you've got late summer grass. There's bits of green in it, but not a great deal. It's the colour of autumn grass meadows. And then in front of that, you've got strips of what looks like tilled ground. And then you've got layers of green coming through. Here we've got a bit of a hedgerow, and there's a definite division between that green and this green, just as there is here. And then this side, you get some different coloration creeping in. You've got this band of greyish green and a few little shrubs or trees. Then this side of the tree, we've got a break, which is shrubbery, and again this side. And here, it looks though this ground has been dug up, probably ready for replanting. And then we go into a darker green and a bank of, I'm not quite certain. And then we come forward to here, and it looks as though they've been cutting grass. Then we come down to here, and we've got this glorious deep shadow, and it contrasts sharply with what's behind and with what's in front. A particularly rich area of green, shrubs. This looks like the shadow from the top of that branch. This looks like part of the shadow from this tree. And then when we look at the tree ourselves, we can see this side of the tree is in deep shade, which means the light is over here somewhere. And the trunk of the tree either has shrubbery growing up it or ivy. And then we've got naked soil, a really deep, rich loam colour. Here it appears to be a fence, and then this foreground we can see individual plants, not clearly, but we're aware that they are there, and tall grasses which look as though they may have gone to seed, a shrub which is still in leaf, a nice bit of shadow here, and then deep shadow there and cast shadow here. And then we've got these logs, and just like the tree, this side of the log is in deep shade, and you've got whites, you've got tans, you've got splodges of something else which is darker. They sort of look grey. I'm not certain what that is. And then we've got this greenery again. Okay, so let's look at the design. And I'm going to go to print preview. It's got 15 unique colours, 26 colour changes. Now that's not totally unusual for a loose density design, or the colour changes, but the number of colours is. If you think back to the review I did for Marie, using 2 neutrals, white and grey, and 6 hues, which gave me a colour range of 8, I had 64 possible permutations for colour, and that's what lies behind the loose density fills. You mix your colours. You can use 1, 2, 3, 4 layers, whatever gives you the closest that you want, using a reasonably limited palette. Now, if you use 10 colours, You have, in theory, if you're doing 4 layers, 100 possible colours. Now Adele has done exactly the same as most of you have done. A large area for the sky. There's only a small bit of sky in the picture, and it's blue-grey. Then there's this shape here, which is meant to be the woodland. I get no sensation that that is woodland. Where is the shading? Undershading or overshading? This area, it's one end is hints of yellow ochre and tan, moving over into a more greyish pale green colour. Over here into a far more green area. I don't see it. Now if I come down through, blue, very light green, and that's this bottom piece here, a darker green, and that's just here, slightly darker green, which is just here, a tan, which is this end here, the yellow green again up here, dark brown for the soil, but the soil isn't brown, it's a greyish colour, warm grey. I want you all to watch Marie's review and also the first video where I show you how I approach loose density. There's no sign of that beautifully deep, rich loam or that fantastic dark contrast shadow. The logs don't stand out. Adele, your colour choices, darling, are good. I keep saying I should have shown you how to do a loose density design before I set the challenge. But when I think about it, I have shown so many examples of loose density when we are doing a flower and we want to introduce a blending of colours. The bluebird I did, the chest on the bluebird, even the feathers on its back. Let me just look very quickly. The whole of this bird is done. Sorry, I tell a lie. Not the whole of the tail. It's colour shading here. It's texture here. And there are several layers here. All loose. And they're all cut into little pieces in order for me to achieve the effect I was after. The chest is cut into little pieces. Right view. Shows selected colours only. Okay, white. Can you see the amount of white that went in first to shine up through view? Selected colours only. Chest, tail feather, view, selected colour only. Now remember, I've got very loose density fill of white underneath, and now this is a loose density fill, view, selected colour only. Is this the one? The bill and the eye. View, selected colour only. The throat, top of the chest, loose fills down here. Oh, the flower. I was wondering what I'd done in yellow. And that will be the petal and that will be the legs. So, show all. This was all loose density fills. Object details. 1.4. No travel on edge. Object details. 1.2. No travel on edge. Object details. 1.2. Top of the leg, which has moved me far too far away. But you can see from the thumbnails over here, they're all loose. There's a little bit of hand drawing, travel line, a bit of wing, the undershading for the wing, tail, tail, tail. I'm really looking for the feathers. Object details, 70%, 70 again. So let's look at some of these. Object details. Satin fill, 35%. The whole bird was made with loose density fills and built up, and the whole of the chest was coloured in with loose density fills. So you see, it's not that I haven't shown you how you can use loose density fills. You didn't actually do this one. Masses of loose density layers to build up the colour, and the actual number of colours used were quite limited. So loose density shouldn't have been a stranger to you. And how it's used. Loose density fills, loose density fill. See, I include it in practically every design I do. Loose density, that's all loose density. These are loose density. This is loose density over a motif. Loose densities again. Loose density. And I think that's why I'm a little bit surprised that you all went for big, huge chunks of loose density, instead of looking at your pictures, analysing them, and thinking, how can I give the appearance that there's trees there with a little variation in colour, with colour washing. So I think my next set of videos is going to be an in-depth look at colour washing. Okay, I have to move on now. Adele, I was pleased with your choice of colours. I was pleased with your choice of subject. I am a little dismayed that you didn't make the connection between things like the bird, the water bottle challenge, when I show you undershading in a set of designs, a set of videos rather, like the Christmas rose. But I suppose, unless I stick a big flag up and say, this is a learning point, and I'd rather not do that, because I want you to arrive at these things. I want you to be able to see, analyse and go, that's how I can do it. Okay, I'm going to move on now, sweetheart.